Hello everyone, welcome back to Castlevania Portals of Ruin. In the last part, we conquered the Nation of Fools, we defeat the Legion, and we acquired the cog that you get from, that you get before fighting Legion. We also found the Heaven Sword, which is the weapon I am currently using, and I will be using it for a little while longer. It's a bit cheap, but you know, honestly, there are a lot of like cheap enemies in this game, so I don't mind using a pretty cheap weapon. Anyways, in this part we will be exploring some more in the Tower of Death, which, you know, is part of Dracula's castle. And the first thing we're going to be doing is, last part, we pass this area and there's a boss door here. In this part we're actually going to go through and fight the boss. That dialogue is kind of sick in a way. I don't know. The writing in this game is kind of weird. Although, I mean, it is a, you know, sort of Castlevania game. None of the stuff is exactly normal, so it's sort of to be expected that you would find stuff like, oh, I'll bring the blood from your bodies, which, you know, kind of twisted, but at the same time, I mean, I think it's just because it's such a huge disconnect where the graphics aren't super realistic in a sense, because they're 2D sprites, whereas, and that way you don't really think about how things are gross or twisted in a way. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. I killed the boss now without even talking about it. Basically, she does some ranged attacks and, you know, some sword melee attacks. That's about it. She's not that hard as long as you can dodge her attacks and, you know, attack her using strength up with the Heaven Sword is really good, because you can get a very huge damage boost, and the attack speed of the Heaven Sword makes it very, very easy to destroy Stella. And here we find a locket. Anyways, yeah, as we saw, that was Wynn. We'll be talking to him in a moment. And this is where you need the cog from the Nation of Fools. You need to go to this area. It is not optional, because beyond this area is something you absolutely need. In this puzzle you have to ride these cars and make sure that both of them make it to the end. Basically by switching characters, like midway through, making sure that you pass obstacles individually with each character. I fucked up a lot, but here's how to do it right. And then when both cars crash into the wall, it breaks, opening up the path to the next area. And this area is known as the Death's Tower water wheel. Probably because, I mean, you've got wheels operating those platforms, and at the top you can see that water spills out from them, so I mean, I don't know what the purpose of that is. I guess it's some weird mechanical contraption to power something. I don't know. Maybe it powers the mechanism itself, but I mean, I have no idea really. Yeah, as you can see, it just dumps the water to the left, but it doesn't really dump it in a container or anything. It just like shoots it. Here we get a taunt. Personally, I never used this move. I don't know. Doesn't really seem viable. I mean, it would work if you use strategies more like using both characters at the same time, where one could attack and the other could say tank damage. Even though it doesn't really work that well either way in this game. There was a new painting world in there, but we're gonna visit Wind here and find out what's up with this locket, because that's clearly him with those two vampire girls. And here we actually find out that Wind's real name is Eric Lecarde. Eric Lecarde is a character from the Bram Stoker Dracula novel, I think. He was also in the Genesis Castlevania game, Castlevania Bloodlines. So, I mean, this ties in nicely with I guess that game. I don't know if it's the same Eric Lecarde or if it's just like, oh, a reference, but I'm guessing that it is the same one, even though, I mean, I don't think anyone's really speculating the Castlevania timeline. I don't think there's a huge need to know what happens when and how, because, I mean, honestly, every game's plot is mostly the same, just with nods to different characters and such. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of whatever. And then we learn that Eric worked together with Jonathan's father, which, you know, is interesting in some capacity. And then we get this whole like, oh, Jonathan has father issues, but he was just looking out for his son. I don't even know. It's kind of cliche, I guess, but I mean, if they can shoehorn it into a Castlevania game, then, you know, whatever, if it works, it works. And then, you know, Belmont, the vampire killer. There's a lot of like underlying lore and stuff. I do, however, like that they do reference the actual Dracula novels. So it's like, oh, you have characters from Bram Stoker's Dracula and you know, stuff like that. I think that's a very neat touch. So it's kind of like, oh, it's not just, oh, we have our universe with our version of Dracula. No, it's actually like set in the Dracula universe, I guess. Anyways, that's it for Eric, who will now be calling Eric and not Wind. I'm just going to go ahead and save the game here in case that I do die, which is not very likely because we'll just be exploring the castle for the rest of this. As far as the Tower of Death goes, it's filled with traps. It's very reminiscent of Clock Tower in older Castlevania games, and it's basically this game's version of the Clock Tower, which is neat. I always like that, you know, that they have very like a reference to older games and such, even though the Clock Tower is often the hardest area of any given Castlevania game, considering that it's a lot of platforming and you often have to go vertically, and if you fall you're pretty much fucked. Down here is a new spell for Charlotte, Tempest. It's like an area of effect attack centered on Charlotte herself, as you can see here. I cut because I'm trying to get out of this area, and I didn't really realize how to do it until I used the kick move, which I just now realized also gives you an extra double jump, which can be very useful to know. I don't know how useful it is outside of that particular situation, but you know, it can be used if you want some extra altitude in areas where there are enemies. Then, you know, go for it. Not that it'll help a lot. And as we can see there is really nothing more we can explore in the Tower of Death, because one way we have a passage that's too small, and the other way we have a flame blocking our path. So the only thing left to do now is to explore these side areas. Or, you know, this hallway. As we saw up there, I did break open a wall, but we won't be going there quite yet, actually. Here we have a succubus, which I've been talking about for like a lot of parts, but here we actually have one, and that's, you know, it's nice. They're basically like creatures that try to seduce you and then strike when you are, or use seductive techniques to you know, strike at you. In this game, they grab you and then they do a sort of kiss thing, which does damage. And they're similar to the Lilith creatures we've seen before. They're basically more or less a recolor, but, you know, also stronger with different item drops. Here we have an elevator, but it does not work. We will be fixing that issue later on, but for now we can't do anything in this room. However, now we can remove the flame pillar from this room, so that we can use this shortcut to get through Death's Tower that way. But other than that, there isn't really a lot to do here, besides, you know, explore what we have explored. In the next part, we will be traveling to the next painting world, which is the last painting world of the first half of the game. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you dislike it, please leave a dislike as well as a comment, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.